want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about 3 different controversial debates that have been going on forever. Will artificial intelligence destroy humanity? Now, will artificial intelligence destroy humanity? We have nuclear bombs, which could potentially destroy civilization. We have global warming, which could destroy civilization or at least severely disrupt civilization. But above all of this, digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial level. There are already many AIs that in no way can be matched by human intelligence. We're like children in a playground. Humanity is not evolved to think of existential threats. We are evolved to think about the things that are very close to us in the near term, to be upset with other humans, and to not think about things that could destroy humanity as a whole. You could ask me how AI could destroy civilization. I'd say it'd be something similar to the way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. It wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but relegated to a small corner of the world. When Homo sapiens became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all of the other ones into small habitats. Just in the same way could an AI. Even in this moment, just with the technology that we have before us, it can be used in some fairly destructive ways. It can make a swarm of assassin drones for very little money by just taking the Face ID chip that's used in cell phones and having a small explosive charge and have them just do a grid sweep with the building until they find the person they're looking for, then ram into them and explode. You can do that right now with no innovation to be done. Probably a bigger risk than being hunted down by a drone though, is that AI would be used to make incredibly effective propaganda that would not seem like propaganda in the first place. AI can leverage all of the power it holds to influence society through the content it suggests to its feed on social medias. This can even affect elections and their results. The regulations for this have come at a linear rate. But this is an exponential problem, and so at one point it will become unsolvable. We hope so. And we also hope that you've already subscribed to Just Tech. Is a climate crisis inevitable? Now, coming to the topic of climate change, we have the present era where we have the carbon cycle, so there's a certain amount of carbon that's circulating through the environment. So it's going into the air, being absorbed by the plants and animals, and then going back into the air, and this carbon is just circulating on the surface, and this is fine, because it's been doing that for millions and millions of years. The thing that changed that is that we've added something to the mix. Now we added all of this extra carbon to the carbon cycle, and the net result is that the carbon in the ocean's atmosphere is growing over time. It's much more than what we can absorb by the ecosystem. It's quite simple. We're taking billions of tons of carbon that's being buried over hundreds of millions of years, and that's not part of the carbon cycle, taken from deep underground, and adding it to the carbon cycle. The result is a steady increase in the carbon in the atmosphere and in the ocean, which doesn't look like much if you look on it on a chart, but when you look at it in the context of history, it looks like this. Carbon plus per million has been really bouncing around the 300 level for around 10 million years, and then the last few hundred years it went into a vertical climb. This is the essence of the problem. It's very unusual and is very extreme threat, as you can see from this rate of growth. Most people live very close to the ocean in some countries, of course, that are very low-lying and would be completely underwater in a climate crisis. We've essentially designed civilization to be super sensitive to climate change. The idea of the removal of hydrocarbons from the crust and placing them in the atmosphere is, I think, just very unwise. So that's why it's the biggest problem of the 21st century. The CO2 thing is that we're running an experiment which is to see what the CO2 capacity of the oceans and the atmosphere is before the Earth gets cooked. Now, I don't think that's a wise experiment. Let's say the experiment is 99% likely to show that CO2 is no problem, but 1% likely to show that it's going to cook the planet. I don't think we want to take that 1% chance. It's just not smart. You take 1% is the right number. I think it's more than 1%, and you think it depends on when and how many trillions of CO2 get punched at the atmosphere. There's no question that at a certain level, it will destroy the Earth, or destroy large portions of the Earth. The question is just what is the level, and how soon do we stop pumping vast quantities of CO2 into the atmosphere, given that oil and even coal are finite resources? It just doesn't seem to make sense that we would run that experiment when we have to get off them right away anyway because they're simply finite. This is what makes climate change an interesting debate. We have to have sustainable production of energy and consumption of energy because tautologically, if it's unsuitable, you'll run out of it. Let's say hypothetically CO2 is good for the environment, and let's say hypothetically the United States possess all of the oil in the world. You'd still have to get the foil because it's a finite resource, and as you start to run out of it, the scarcity would drive up the cost and cause economic collapse. So, why not do it sooner? Now, I'm not saying that this needs to be a radical or immediate change. Other people you know need to know that you'd be injecting a great deal of misery into their lives to, avoid CO2. But we should lean in that direction. Elon Musk states the following: "What can AI do to help combat climate change, particularly in this short-term period as we're transitioning a Tesla's goal from when we started? Our primary goal was to accelerate sustainability. The secondary goal is to solve at least real-world intelligence as it applies to self-driving cars, and then potentially, with humanoid robots, so Tesla isn't part of the AI company and increasingly an AI company, but it's still primarily a sustainable energy company." What is freedom of speech? Now, coming to the next debatable topic, freedom of speech. The right to freedom of speech is the cornerstone of a free and democratic society, and without it, we risk slipping into the totalitarian nightmare where our thoughts and opinions are censored and controlled by those in power. It's a terrible problem. Elon Musk. Imagine the rule is you can't offend anyone. Let's say I'm speaking to one person. I can't offend you, alright, fair enough. What if I'm speaking to 10 people? Do I get to offend 1 in 10, or how about 1 in 100? How about 1 in 1,000? When you're going to come out on stage and you're going to say something important about something vital, well, you can't say anything about anything important ever without offending probably someone you're talking about this thing important. Now, important, especially contentious issues are instantly offensive. The problem is that people don't think through what freedom of speech means because they tend to think it means the right to criticize those who are in power, for example, which is one of the things it means. But freedom of speech means the freedom to formulate ideas badly and awkwardly in public while you're trying to think them, including offending people. Well, it's inevitable that you're going to offend people if you're going to talk about anything. After all, if you talk about something difficult, then people are going to become emotionally involved, and that's especially true if you talk to large numbers of people about something difficult. If I address an audience of thousands of people about anything vaguely contentious, which is something that needs to be thought about, then the small percentage of them are going to be offended. I don't think it's unreasonable to point out that thought. It's internalized speech, and the dialectical process that constitutes critical thinking is internalized speech. Another example, let's say you and I are discussing something. You'll post something and I'll respond to it and you'll respond to that, and we're kind of in combat. There's some cooperation about it as well. If we're being honest, we do that when we're speaking. So the quality of our thought is dependent on our ability to speak our minds, and that is free speech. If you like this content, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're interested in more topics like this, please subscribe to our channel. But until next time folks, bye bye.